What's up, YouTube? It's Rico here, CEO of Search Find Asia, co-host of the Made in China podcast, and the host of the Search Find Asia YouTube channel, of course. Sitting here in the Pullman Hotel. There's another name for it.
The Lane Pullman.
Yeah, Park Lane Pullman Hotel. It's the Pullman Hotel or Park Lane, whatever.
Something complicated, yeah.
But yeah, we're hanging out in the Ebb and Flow sort of coffee shop / restaurant. And I'm sitting here with Alan Scanlan. If you're familiar with the YouTube channel, you've probably seen the two videos that we did the tail end of last year at the same hotel, except we were on the rooftop on the outside. It's closed now, so we're hanging out in the restaurant. What have you been up to for the past 7-8 months?
Yeah, I suppose since last time it was before Christmas, so we were just talking
Christmas,
about.
We were talking. The first video we did, we talked about your dad's experience coming to Asia and all that stuff. Actually, I had Mark O'Connell. He loved that episode because he related so much to your dad's experience.
It's the Aussie Mark, right?
Yeah. Because he went through similar experiences himself.
Yeah.
I got a lot of positive feedback from that episode. Personally, it was interesting for me to hear about somebody sourcing that long ago. And then I think the second episode we did was you just talking about how you built your connections in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
While you moved to Hong Kong. I think we talked a little bit about Lazada at the time. And yeah, that was kind of it.
Well, I suppose leading on from Lazada, you have to talk about, I suppose, the failures as well as the positive things that happened. So I was working on that for about 9 months with a couple of guys in Hong Kong, a local guy and then another Irish guy, and things didn't pan out the way I'd hoped. There was a shift in their kind of mindset and the way they wanted to approach the business, which didn't align with myself and then our family business. We were bringing in the stock from Bailey and Brook, so we had it all in a warehouse in China, and we had the distribution all set up, and we had the Lazada pages set up, which takes a long time, a lot of back and forth and a lot of communication issues, and we were using a girl in the Philippines to do a lot of that work, and basically they decided that they didn't feel it was working and they wanted to change or move the goalposts. So there was a bit of a falling out from that. We grabbed the coffees, which was annoying and disappointing. Cost me a bit of money, but I suppose you have to take the positives from it and try learn from the mistakes and just don't let it happen again. So
what are the positives you've taken from that situation?
I suppose really trusting and understanding who I'm going into business with. There was a lot of, I suppose, promises made and people saying they were going to do stuff and things just weren't happening. Picking up on those signs as well actually would be a big thing for me. There was 2 or 3 things that I thought were a bit odd and that the lads should have known what was going on, and they didn't. And then when it all came to a head, it was
obvious
what was going on.
Yeah.
So picking up on those points, and I suppose trusting my gut, because I did pick them up, but I just kind of put it aside, saying, "Oh no, I'm sure it's fine." So I suppose trusting your gut more. So yeah, and then the money side of it. I mean, it is only money, but it was still quite a chunk of change. And then the hassles with dealing with the family business with my brothers, because this was my project and my idea. So dealing with with that, what it was a big thing as well, I had to do it all while I was actually on holidays. I was in Australia for a wedding and I had to deal with it all then, so that kind of ruined that trip. But yeah, a lot taken from it.
Yeah.
And then it all kind of went to crap as well as I was starting another venture. So like it was kind of a big thing, having to go, right, I'm starting a new business and not letting that affect it. So yeah, it's sort of just after actually we spoke in January, I approached, and this actually leads to connections as well in Hong Kong. So the two brothers who own the gym I go to, who I've approached about starting a gym apparel range.
These are the rugby players, right?
These are two ex-rugby players, yeah, and they're both CrossFitters. So one of them just competed in the CrossFit Games, came 27th in the world. He's the fittest man in China. So we are looking to launch in November. So I've been doing all the work up to that. So sourcing factories, getting samples made, getting all the digital marketing stuff in place with Jordan in the Philippines.
Oh, so you're going to be working with
we haven't actually started yet, but we've been in communication for about 6 months now.
That's awesome.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He seemed really driven and focused.
Yeah, he's like, he's awesome. Just to give some context, Jordan is one of the entrepreneurs I met at the Refined in BGC in the Philippines. He runs a digital marketing agency.
Yeah, so seems really good at what he does and very eager, and he's got a background in gyms, which all kind of ties in, and he's doing a bit of health and fitness stuff in regards to supplements as well in Australia. He's looking at launching a company, and the Fit Tea as well in the Philippines. So there's a lot of crossover there, and he gets it, which is good. So at this stage, we did our second round of samples with the new factory. Actually, funny story about the factory. I got a few factory names from you. I had found a few online. I went to the Canton Fair and had about 15 factories, I'd say, from the Canton Fair that I was emailing, getting prices from and all that. And one crowd that I noticed, because they make for a famous Irish brand, a clothing store in Ireland, which is kind of on the lower end of things, and they're notoriously difficult to deal with. So I went onto the booth because I saw the name, Dunn Stores, and was talking to a sales guy, and he promised the world, could do everything, do small orders, whatever fabrics we wanted, all that sort of stuff. So was delighted with them. They're also one of Gymshark's biggest suppliers.
Okay.
So that was a good tie-in. Arranged to go up and see them in Xiamen. On the way up on the train, I got an email from another factory just wishing me a happy Dragon Boat Festival. Had a look at the email, the address, and it was in Xiamen. So I got onto WeChat, onto the girl, and just messaged her saying, listen, I'm coming up here. If I have time at the end of the day, I'll come see your factory if that worked out. And she was more than happy in making all the arrangements. So I went to the first factory and was given a different sales girl than the guy I'd originally met. Got the tour, sat down, and basically they said that minimum orders were 1,000 pieces per top. They couldn't do anything they had promised at the show, and she had no interest in working with me. And I'm kind of sitting there as a startup, and they're the big factory, so no real leg to stand on. Left the meeting in the worst mood, back to my hotel. The other factory said they'd send a Didi, isn't it? The Chinese Uber to come pick me up. That went to the wrong hotel. There was all the communication issues. I was just sounds like you had a China day, man. Oh yeah, exactly, classic China day. So I got into the car for 40 minutes, sat there trying to put myself in a good mood. Arrived to the factory and met my contact at the front. So we arrive in, go up the elevator, and doors open, and there's about 15 to 20 Chinese people in a line with music playing, clapping and singing me into the office.
Nice.
So can't help you put in a good mood, meet the owners, all the usual photographs and all that sort of stuff. So like it it got me out of the funk. We went into the showroom, super impressive. Make for a few kind of up and coming brands, but the quality's all there.
Yeah.
Very new age Chinese factory, like big into their Instagram and big into the kind of Western tactics, more so than being very, very Chinesey. The staff all had a great relationship. It was about 90% women, but they all got on really, really well. There was a lot of, their children were in the office because it was quite late on a Friday and there was a Dragon Boat Festival, so really nice atmosphere in the office. All had a huge amount of respect for the owner, but also you could see they had a really good relationship with them in regards to like they were friends.
Yeah.
So
how old is the owner?
Well, so the owner, it's owned by 4 brothers and sisters, and the girl that I was dealing with is the only one who speaks English. So the company was actually named after her.
Okay.
And it was her birthday that day, so they're having a surprise 30th. And there is an older brother and sister, but like I was basically older than, I think I'd say again 90% of people in the office.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were from a family business like myself, we really related to, so we had lots of common stories. Their dad was in the industry for about 25, 30 years, and they started the sports side of things, I suppose, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago. Again, they actually did a bit of work with Gymshark, but Gymshark left them after a couple of years. They seemed to work with several different factories. But so yeah, we just had a nice tie there. They said they were more than willing to help me out because they liked the story and they liked the concept. So yeah, the first round of samples came in for them, which were really, really, really good. So with the CrossFit Games being on and the 2 boys have been in America for the past month, that's put a bit of a delay on things. But we should get everything finalised and a photo shoot done by September.
Nice.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Yeah, I was asking about the age because I have noticed, especially with some factories in southern. Where was this located?
Xiamen.
Xiamen. So especially with some of the factories that are more in southern China, it's like when like the kids take over, especially if they traveled abroad and stuff like that. Like
yeah.
They're trying to have a more modern approach to how they do business.
Yeah. Definitely. I've noticed it a lot recently, as you said, when they are sent off to the States. It seems to be mostly America where they go, and they come back and they're bringing their ideas and their concepts into the factory.
Yeah.
I was in a jewelry factory recently in Yiwu, and it was like being in an office in Silicon Valley. It was all done up like. It just didn't have that traditional Chinese look when you walked in.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is nice to see. So yeah, things seem to be sort of shifting a bit.
They also kind of have to because competition for like places, people don't want to work in factories anymore. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, like they have to provide other benefits outside of just paying them to do work.
Well, I think it was one thing that I took from it as well, the relationship that the factory owner had with the staff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, it's the hierarchy scene and the boss is in that oversized office with the tea set and the giant chairs and the wooden furniture. And it's very much so that's the boss and there's not a huge amount of communication. But this was a real friendship with the company. And in their catalogue and the brochure, they had numerous events that they had days out together as team building, and there seems to be a really, really genuine respect and friendship between the owners and the team, which is really nice to see. And I think it's a really, really, really good way to build culture in any business, because then it just means people are coming in happy and they want to work for the business and they want to stay there as well. Because I'm sure you've seen it a lot when employees get to a certain level in a factory and you're really, really happy with working with them, they always seem to then go off and do their own things. So
yeah, they get frustrated with the internal workings within the factory and just like not being a part of the decision-making process as well. Because I mean, that's again a traditional thing with business in China is, you know, when you're the boss, you make a decision and, you know, tomorrow that is implemented throughout the company. And that's just not the way, I guess, millennials and then what is it now, like Generation Y or whatever?
Yeah.
Anybody that's born after, I think it's like 1998 is a different thing. But yeah, everybody in that space, and it's not that different in China, they want to be a part of the decision-making process process. They want to feel like their opinion matters
Yeah.
in the workplace. You know?
Which is difficult though for like a young person, because it's a big problem in the West with millennials who want to change the world by 25.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of go, well,
yeah, there's also a certain amount of like impatience that goes along with that, but
yeah.
But I mean, it's a positive thing. Even with my staff, like I noticed a big difference between any of the people that we've hired that were 22 or younger. Like it's like that much of a difference. Like Imogen is 24,
Yeah.
and she started working for me when she was 21, 22. And her mentality is quite different from the new people that we
Really,
brought in.
yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting how quickly China is changing in that sense. So what's the next step with that brand? Like after the guys get back from the...
So they're back, or one of them's back this week. So really go through the samples. Whatever changes need to be made, I'll sit down with our designer. I had been working with someone in the States. I got through Upwork, but I've now moved to a designer based in Hong Kong who could speak Chinese. There was a lot of communication issues with the tech packs. Quite a lot of detail go into them. So like, again, very different from a Western designer doing it to the Chinese factory and me being the middleman.
Yeah.
There was a lot of mistakes happening and a lot of time being spent on it, and then that costing me money. So having a Chinese-speaking designer that's based in Hong Kong who can communicate directly with the factory should cut a lot of that out.
Yeah.
So once we finalise samples, which I'm hoping we'll have the second lot in by the end of this month, should take about 2 weeks. I then want to either do a photo shoot once they come in end of August or start of September. So we'll probably do this in the gym. We'll have our kind of main core of influencers that we're using. It's all going to be CrossFit based at the start because that's where the influence we have. We'll do a photo shoot, get the website built. I want to run some sort of once we have all our influencers brought in, have some sort of event in the gym. We'll probably have like the type of throwdown. We'll have some sort of exercise put in where we can have it all filmed and recorded, and in photographs. So all the influencers have the same content.
Yeah.
So we'll give them all their folders on Dropbox, and they can all post. So everything going along is all uniformed and all in sync with what everyone's doing, and hopefully do that for about a month up to the launch date. I have it kind of penciled in for November, but no doubt there will be delays and everything. So I'd say if we can get it done before the end of the year, I'd be happy.
Yeah. And then what are you going to be doing? Just setting up your own like Shopify store and.
So it's all through Shopify. Again, probably Jordan will be helping with all of that. Very much just online and influencer marketing based. So again, I'm taking a lot of stuff from Gymshark as an example because they've done it on that side of the world, and I think there's no one doing it to a high level in Hong Kong definitely yet. And our main target market is going to be Asia and China. With the growth of CrossFit, it's getting very popular in China at the moment, and I really see that sort of taking off in the next 3 to 5 years. So I want to be there at the start. And then sort of and open up the brand as well. I don't want to just be CrossFit based. I want a functional movement brand, I suppose, is the bigger target. But all very much influencer driven. Yeah, so that's the plan.
I just thought we were talking about this before we started. This is going to be a left turn, but how do you feel about just sort of the climate in Hong Kong right now with the protests and things like that?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess has it affected you personally besides yesterday maybe having to work from
yeah,
home?
I mean, yesterday's the only time it's affected me in regards to anything work-wise, just having meetings cancelled.
Yeah.
And then just with the unrest that was going on, basically staying inside for the day. It's more my mother ringing me up telling me to stay in and not go out. I had one issue on
Luke
the
was joking about you can't tell his mom that he's in Hong Kong.
Oh really?
Like,
Fair enough.
She'll fly him out. She'll fly him back out.
Well, it's interesting to see from the outside. So a lot of the expat friends I've here, and their parents ringing them up saying, "I think it's time for you to leave," and things like that. And like it is, there is unrest, but it's not gotten to the stage where you're walking around afraid that someone's going to attack you, because they're not. The protesters aren't doing that. If they are attacking people, it's because people are standing up to them, and it's from both sides.
Yeah. It's not unprovoked.
It's not unprovoked, but as well, they're putting themselves in that situation where they're getting out there and they're carrying weapons and they're wearing masks and helmets. Like it's a scary thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely escalated way more than everyone thought it was going to be. I don't know how they're going to come to a solution. I think it's going to take a long time, but it's something Hong Kong needs to sort out from the bottom up in the government. It's very much moved away from the original bill, but it just shows that there was a lot of unrest in Hong Kong, because I think if it was just about the bill, it would be over, but it's not. It's about a lot of other things.
There's deeper.
Exactly, yes. There was
frustrations that have been bubbling.
Yeah, exactly. And the bill just kicked it off. So, yeah, I don't know. Like it's. I mean, I coming from Ireland and coming from the unrest that we had for so long with Northern Ireland. I wouldn't say it's something like I'm used to, but it's something that you know about, and that was at such a higher level of people being killed and bombs and shootings. Where this is just, I look at some of the news and you see guys throwing petrol bombs at like an empty road and lighting ladders on the ground on fire, and it's just they're just causing hassle. They're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I think we're a long way off the Chinese army coming in and getting involved.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm more optimistic in that sense. And then just the same thing is like I've had a bunch of people message me, hey, I know you're in Hong Kong. Like, are you alright? Are you safe? And
yeah.
I'm like, no, it's completely fine. Like I haven't really run into any groups of protesters, and it's like, you know where they are, so just don't go there.
Exactly, but
so
my girlfriend and her mum were in Pacific Place yesterday, and there was a load of protesters there. But they were saying like there was groups of 4 or 5, like multiple groups of 4 or 5 girls, and they were like 16, 17 years old, and they had all the gear on, their backpacks and their masks and all, and they were nearly just there because it was the thing to do.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a lot of that. You're going to get people who are just jumping on, but like if the police come along, they're going to be the first ones gone out of it.
Away,
or they just want to be involved because it's like
to show support.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Other than that, like, how's life been in Hong Kong for the past?
Yeah, good. I mean, that's obviously taken a huge amount of the focus, and that's nearly what every conversation is about. But apart from that, big things get a bit quiet during the summer. A lot of people leave Hong Kong for the summer.
Yeah.
So things get a bit slow. But no, everything else is going good. Newland sourcing is ticking along with a few nice orders. The family business, the Bailey and Brooks stuff, we've a trade show coming up in October, which be interesting to see if that's affected much by what's going on here. I'd say you'll get a lot of people who won't want to travel, obviously depending if it's still going on by October, but you still might get people not making the bookings now for their flights and stuff.
Yeah.
That side it's going okay. It's slowed down a bit. We'll probably do the same as we did last year, where we were hoping obviously to increase the business. It's going very well in the UK, but
are you still considering with Bailey and Brooke to get onto Lazada, or is
no, that's just after what happened. It just was all squashed because then we had hassle with getting the stock out and shipping it back to Ireland, and that cost more money. And so yeah, that idea was squashed. So we're sticking to the original game plan of trade shows. We do 3 in the UK at the start of the year, and then the 2 big ones in Hong Kong. So yeah, next one in October, 20th of October. And then just trying to pick up distributors distributors that way.
Is that how like the brand grew originally, was trade shows, or is it like?
So yeah, we would do back home in Ireland. We'd always do. Well, we'd have a sales team. So for the souvenir business, you'd obviously have the sales team going around Ireland, and just with the longevity of the business, you'd have a lot of word of mouth as well. And we would do the big trade shows around the country. It's a bit different in that sense because people would already know who you are, and they go to the trade shows to place orders, and that's still actually done a lot in Ireland, which doesn't seem to be done anywhere else.
Why? Like, it just seems like if they know you, why don't they just go online and?
Well, yeah, like, or just like ring up.
Send you an
Yeah,
email.
I just think it's an Irish thing, to be honest. A bit slow to catch on to everything else. But yeah, a lot of orders are placed on the booth. We would do deals as well. If you place your order then, your yearly order, your bulk order, then you get a deal. And then as well with Tipperary Crystal, we do 2 or 3 the big Irish shows, which still generate a lot of money. So, I mean, that's how the business is growing. You're always going to hit a ceiling in Ireland, which I think we've hit with the souvenirs. Tipperary Crystal's still growing. And then getting the word in the UK. So we've hired, as well as the trade show, we've hired a sales rep who's got a team underneath him for Southern England, and then we have our Scottish reps as well. So again, that's really just a case of getting the stuff in a store, and then getting second, third, fourth orders once you start making sales.
But you travel to the States quite a bit. Is that part of it, or is that more? And then
I haven't been going recently. So at the start of the project, I was out there quite a bit for trade shows. But we have guys in New York who look after all that. So they do shows in New York, Chicago, and Atlanta.
Okay.
But again, so they're kind of doing that on their own bat, where they're not an exclusive agent, but they have the rights at the moment. And they're just trying to drive it in America, which is it's very difficult. I've been trying lots of different angles and meeting with lots of the big department stores and getting links into them, and it all just runs into dead walls or dead ends. So it's a difficult place to get the foot in the door.
Why do you think that is? Do you think most of the other brands that are in those department stores, they have connections, or like what is it like?
A lot of it seems to be done through an agent.
Yeah.
So you work with an agent who's would be in with that store. So whether it's Costco or Walmart, they have certain agents who've worked with them for a number of years, and they're experts at working with them. So if you do go directly to Walmart, they'll give you a booklet of all their rules and regulations and what you have to do to work with them. And these agents basically are experts at knowing how to deal with them and what way to get in, and certain products that they'll take in bulk. So Christmas time, they'll take decorations in bulk, but say for candles, they want to take it over the year. So you need to have storage in America.
Yeah.
And ship it in when they want it. So there's lots of different barriers you have to get through. And then obviously you're paying those agents their 5% cut on it. And again, there could be certain agents getting more money or getting backhanders or whatever it is. It's just
little side deals.
Yeah, and it's the relationships the agents have with the buyers in these places. So you've got to get the right buyer as well. And they're just so big. They have so many buyers. I've just found that we were close with getting in with them. We've been trying to work on Bed Bath & Beyond. Is it Costco? I don't know, it was Target. We were working on Target for a good year and a half, and then again it was just you finally run into something where it's just not happening.
Yeah.
But so we'll keep on chipping away, and again back to connections. A lot of those connections have come from Hong Kong through the lady I work with, Joy, who makes the souvenirs, the Cirque du Soleil stuff in China. She's based in Hong Kong, and she has a lot of connections in the American market. She's from New York, and she's worked with those big retailers for a long time.
Yeah.
So again, it's kind of connections and getting that foot in the door. I've tried the cold calling and cold email and all that. It's just not happening.
What are the differences between doing, from a business culture standpoint, the differences between the different trade shows, like in the US, Europe, Asia?
It's kind of hard with the trade shows to like pinpoint any specific things. Like in Hong Kong anyway, you're getting such an array of people coming. Like there's one year you'll get a load of Australians coming, and then on the April show you might get a load of Aussies, and then October none of them show up and you get a load of Italians. So there's no way of telling who's going to come and how many leads you're going to get and how many people will stop by your booth. The first show we did, we had the most leads that we've gotten since any of the 5 shows I think we've done now, but they weren't good leads. And then you get one show where you might only get 50 leads and you're getting a handful of good buyers. So it's really hard to pinpoint the difference between any of the shows. Like the last show we had in April, we haven't had any orders from or any solid leads from. And we'd done up a new booth and it looked great and it was all shiny and new samples and products and new ranges. And unless you get that good buyer on, you're just not getting the leads. And it's so hard to, like, I mean, even like I know myself at shows where I've walked up and down halls and you miss something and you go the next day and you're like, how did I miss that stand? You look at people who literally wouldn't turn their head when they're walking by. And we have in April there was a condom company across from us, and of course they were getting all the attention and all the same jokes being cracked by everyone as they walked by. So yeah, I struggle with pinpointing
the biggest differences.
The biggest difference with the shows obviously depends on the show as well. Like in the States, the few shows I did were retail, so you're getting smaller shops coming in and they're placing smaller orders, where the Hong Kong shows you're getting wholesalers or distributors coming in. You don't tend to get any of the big retailers though, again, which from what I gather is because they've been in business for so long, they're still working directly with factories. So they come to Hong Kong and they come to China, but they're going directly to the factories that they've worked with for years, and they tend not to go to the trade shows.
And they're probably like getting approached by
they're getting approached by everyone,
new suppliers and stuff like that. So it's almost like they don't need to do that much research.
I mean, I had 2 buyers from Target, but again, that was through Joy and my connection, that she arranged for them to come and see our booth, and they just came and to our booth and then left. So yeah, it's I mean, it's just, you need a bit of luck, but you also need to keep doing the shows, I think, as well. Like, it's not sort of you do it once or twice and then just give it up. I think you need to be doing them at least each show for at least three years in a row. So like the April Gifts and Premium, which we've now done twice, and this will be the third. I know we've done 3 times, and this will be the 3rd time we've done the October show.
So how much does it cost to do the show?
You're probably looking at total. The booths, so we're getting a bigger booth this time for October. So you're looking at about 80k Hong Kong. You're probably looking altogether, say 10,000 US, 10,000 US for a show. The fact...
It's not bad. I think the Canton Fair is more expensive.
Yeah, Canton Fair is a lot more expensive, and it's just difficult to get a booth in a good place. I think you looked into it, right? We've done it once with the souvenirs. We have with one of the factories that we've dealt with for years. I'd hate to do it and have to organise the logistics, and dealing with people and the language barrier trying to get stuff in would be so difficult. So a lot of people partner up with Chinese factories to do it. I mean, it's hard enough to get it. Like, it's gotten easier and easier as I've done it so many times now, but you still run into all these issues at the show and trying to get like your lights put up, and again, I have a girl, Crystal, who comes in and helps with all the shows, and the main thing is the language, just so she can speak Cantonese to the guys in Hong Kong. So yeah, it's about 9 or 10 grand, I'd say, per show. I run them all through my Hong Kong business because we have grants. So we get up to 400,000 Hong Kong dollars in grants for trade shows through Newland Sourcing, and you can use. So if the show costs 100,000 Hong Kong, I can use the grants up to 50% of that. So it's technically.
How did you apply for the grants?
I got in contact with Invest Hong Kong, and literally just met with them one day and was like, what benefits do I have for a company in Hong Kong, and what can I use to my advantage? That's the biggest one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's once that 400k runs out, you're done. But it will get us a long way with a lot of the shows, and obviously takes off half the expense, which my brother, who's the accountant, was pretty chuffed about.
What is I guess, where do you see yourself as? It might be different from the last time I asked you this question. Like, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, my girlfriend keeps asking me where we're going to go to if Hong Kong goes to crap. I don't really know. I still see myself here because the big focus is shifted onto the apparel brand, and I'd like to think Hong Kong can turn it around. It's going to have, everything's what's going on. There's going to be a big downturn. I think you're going to get a lot of people who won't come to Hong Kong now, won't move to Hong Kong. You'll get a lot of expats leaving, get a lot of local people leaving, I'd say. There's a lot of talk about people going to Singapore. I was reading yesterday, there was talk about potential recession happening here, which I think would have to be a lot more downturn to make that happen. But I think for the next 3 to 5 years, still here. I think it's important with what I'm trying to build.
When I come to the Philippines, let me know, man.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about Phuket.
Yeah.
I didn't say Manila actually.
There's actually one of my friends. Her brother is either number 1 or number 2 CrossFit guy in the Philippines.
Oh yes, we spoke about this. I need to get his name.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna meet up with him when I'm there for a month. So I was thinking, because she was saying he's really talented at what he does, but he doesn't really think about the business side of things.
Okay.
Leveraging.
Do you know is he on Instagram?
I'll have it somewhere.
Yeah, send it on to me. Because I'm actually, as I was saying to you about the influence, at the start it's going to be Hong Kong focused.
Yeah.
And obviously with the gym and there's certain people in the gym who are at a certain level of CrossFit as well. We're going to have our influencers that are based in Hong Kong because it's easy to get all the content done. But then I want to stretch it into Asia, and the Philippines is a big place. One of our girls, Izzy Wolf, she finished second in China. So she's Taiwanese, but she lived in Manila for most of her life. So she's got a good influence there. But Japan and Philippines and Singapore seem quite high up quite at a certain level with CrossFit anyway.
Yeah, she was telling me it's pretty big there.
Yeah.
It's pretty big. And I mean, the population, it's not small, right? It's almost 100 million people.
Yeah, and I would look at it a bit differently as well. I know a lot of people in the West, certainly in America, and certainly coming from Ireland, people look at CrossFit and kind of, if you're not involved, look at it with a negative light. And would kind of say it's very cultish and stuff, but I think that attitude's a bit different in Asia, from the way they look at it. It just would be another gym or another form of exercise. It's not looked at in a negative light.
No, so it doesn't have that stereotype there.
Yeah. So I would think if people saw a brand and if it was affiliated with CrossFit, it wouldn't necessarily be a big issue to them. So and I do want to have as many influencers across Asia as possible, and people who are keen to sort of get on board with a new brand. And I'm sure he's heard of the 2 lads I'm working with. So that's kind of the tie-in with the whole thing as well.
Any new business books and podcasts and stuff that you've been listening to?
What have I been listening to? I was listening to, this is a real clickbait name, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. He was on some podcast. What's his name?
That's a book, right? Like,
It's a book, yeah. It's actually, he's very good. He's an Indian guy, Indian American guy. Ramit something.
I know the book.
Ramit Seeth. It's actually very good.
Yeah.
Really, really basic tips on investing and savings and watching your money. But yeah, really enjoying it. It's just funny when you hear someone say something as simple as set up a savings account and put X amount of money in, and then just from the personal side of investing, just lots of good tips on investing in the S&P Index 500 in America, which I think it's turned over each year on average of 8% for the last 30 years. So I've been listening to that. I started using a thing online called Skillshare. So it's an online platform with basically business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs from all over the world in all different industries, and they put videos up of how they've done things and how they've set up brands and how they've created brands, and you have artists showing you how to draw pictures and all different types of things. I found it really handy with building my internal business plan for the apparel brand. So I was watching one yesterday, the guy who created Echo United, the clothing brand from New York. And he did his...
Isn't his name Mark Echo?
Mark Echo, yeah. But he did a business a business sort of plan or program based on the 10 Crack Commandments by Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
So he went through each commandment and related it to business, which is I really relate to because I'm a big fan. So I thought it was really cool.
That's hilarious.
And his take on what Biggie was trying to say and put across. So that was really cool, and just picking up lots of different points from these type of videos that I suppose putting it into words about what I've been thinking about for my business plan. So I've been working on the plan for months, and certain things that I would struggle to get down in words or how I'm seeing it in my head.
Yeah.
So I find that really helpful. Skillshare.
Awesome. I think that's it. Where are we with time?
I think 40.
40? I'm just thinking, is there anything else that we didn't talk about? Anything that you can think of that we didn't talk about?
No, I suppose we've kind of covered the family stuff, the connections, the more connections in Hong Kong. I think that's everything.
That's good. All right. So if people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
newlandsourcing.com. The sourcing dude's still going, not with much success. I did have a plan for the social media side of things for about 6 months.
Yeah.
That I was working on with the company in the UK. Got a bit of uptake, but very little. Like, people asked me to source one thing, so I've kind of decided to put that on a bit of a back burner, just with expenses building up. But it's still, Instagram's still going. And then, my contact details are all on newlandsourcing.com.
Awesome. All right, guys, if you want to reach out to us, it's podcast@sourcefinancial.com. And if you want to check out the show notes, it's sourcefinancial.com/made in China. And of course, we'll have all the links that Alan mentioned in the description of this video below. So like, comment, share, and subscribe.